Hey everybody, happy Thursday. This is day 3 for the buffet and we're going to be pretty much finishing it off today. I'm Cindy Daychuk with Queen Bee Creations and we have been working on this old wheeled buffet sideboard. It does have it's the dog of course knocking over the camera. It does have a section that sits higher than this, but way too tall. So just one of those kind of mirrors, raised areas that we add on later. But so far we've been layering a lot of our paint colors. So we started with this lovely cherry picked color. I'm using all DIY clay-based paints for this. And we also added in some Petticoat pink. That was our base. Second video also added in those colors again, but we added in a little bit of the Monet's Garden, the green color in addition to that. And there's a tiny little bit that you might see of this Cowgirl coral, this kind of corally color. And once we had kind of blended everything together, it was still a little bit stark. So I took a kind of a purple wash that I had mixed, which was the DIY pink, which I have now remembered is called Kissing Booth. I did not remember that yesterday. Kissing Booth mixed with Old Sailor, which is kind of the navy, and it makes this really lovely, delightful purple. And I have this as a wash, and you might recall yesterday that I took the brayer and I rolled on some of that color, spritzed it, added in over top, so it added a little bit of that texture. It was a kind of a straight wash color over top of it. You end up with it a little bit sporadic. I love that. We're going to do more of that today, but we are going to do it with another product from DIY called Golden Ticket. And this is a patina, so it could be used as a top coat, a sealer. It's already very liquidy, so you can see when I pour it out, it's very liquid. What I'm looking at doing with it is, let me just put the lid on so that I don't knock it over. I'm going to water it down a little bit more. So I have it on a pie plate because I want to add it in using the brayer, and I think I'm going to just stir it up a little bit. I had it sitting out here, which prevented me from shaking it. Forgot to put the lid on, of course. Perfect. Let's add that in. So I am going to add this using the brayer, and I dropped in a link on YouTube, so I guess I'll maybe make a point of doing that for you on here. But we're going to be adding this because I don't want solid coverage. I don't want to just paint it on. I want it to be kind of very kind of sporadic. I want it to be kind of that patchy kind of look.
Casey and Stacy said looks fun. Love the colors.
Ah, Stacy, glad to see you here. Nick, you remember Stacy?
Yeah.
Hey, Nick's here reading. Okay, Stacy, he says hi. All right, so kind of fun. So what I'm looking at doing is just kind of adding it in places and then using the brayer to kind of pull it off into the edges. But what we're not getting is like perfect coverage everywhere. It's going to be kind of that patchy kind of roller look, which I'm liking on this piece. So I just want it kind of in different spots here. And the water, this is just water in my misting bottle. So it's kind of helping move it across here and there. What you are going to find is that because this Golden Ticket is not an opaque color, meaning it's a little bit translucent, a little bit see-through. So I would have to do a lot of layers of this to be able to get kind of a translucent, to get an opaque color. So because of that, you're still going to see a lot of the other colors peeking through it. And because I'm not painting it on, we're not getting that solid coverage at all either. So as you can tell from this, we're not looking for this one solid look. We're looking for something that's a little bit more organic looking for this piece. Definitely not my blues. I promised you guys I wouldn't go into the blues, so I've managed to stay away from them. I haven't snuck any in on you in any way. So what we will do today is apply this gold across the surface, and I'm just getting a little bit down on the legs before I forget those. So if I'm disappearing from view, bear with me. I haven't gone far. And I will say, my husband was saying yesterday, I usually wear my painter's pants because they're covered in paint, but I have lost a significant amount of weight and my painter's pants are really big. So he was saying, you be careful when you're wearing those, because when you lean forward, you're getting plumber's butt showing. And so I have good jeans on today, not my painter's jeans. So they actually fit my butt now. So they're not hanging off of me. Not the way I really want to be immortalized on camera. I don't think. Kind of flashing, wondering, did I wear good underwear or not? Yeah. So I'm a little conscious now of where am I leaning, where am I not leaning. Okay. So I'm not necessarily getting this everywhere. It's getting heavier in some sections, like on the store, lighter in other sections. I can use the water to help move it a little bit, even with the brayer. Let's get this kind of moving over here a little bit. But what it is doing is also adding some wonderful texture, which again, I wouldn't get with a brush. So I'm just rolling it on my plate, right? Getting a little bit of paint on here and then rolling it across my piece. And then once I have it on, use a bit of the water to help continue some of that movement. And this is what we did with that purple wash yesterday. We're just kind of continuing that a little bit. A little bit more of that gold down here in this corner. And I have such limited space that I'm working with here. I'm backed right into other furniture. This is the middle of my living room. So we've got all of the living room furniture pushed off to the sides, lining the back of the walls are all the other finished pieces, just waiting for some new homes. And oh, it gets crazy, folks. And especially with this kind of time, right? That, you know, things may not be kind of moving with the same speed that they might have prior to the pandemic. People are staying home. They might not be wanting to come shop. And so we have to expect that we're going to be sitting here with all this furniture stacked all over the place. And of course, I'm going to want to keep painting to pass the time, which means we may, if this continues for too long, if this goes as long as July, we're going to look like hoarders in here. There's going to be furniture stacked to the ceiling because yeah, we'll have to go out and rent space just so that I can keep painting and have a place to be able to keep it. And, oh my goodness, crazy times, folks. But I'm not a good sit and do nothing kind of person, even before I came on with you guys. Right now, to be able to work on this piece, I was working on some projects up in my office, and as I'm not having to do as much work on the other business with clients, it means I have more time to be working on this business, and it's fun. It's crazy, but it's fun. And I know you guys are all having to adapt and kind of change the way that you operate in your life, in your world right now too, I'm sure. So having furniture stacked all over is probably not the worst case scenario that people are having to face, which is pretty much the argument that I have for my husband. Should he decide at some point he'd like to have a chair he can sit on and not one that's stacked up on top of buffets and things waiting to be sold. So we'll see how that goes over time. But I would say that I would just have to stop painting at some point in time, but I'm not sure that's going to work for me. So this is just kind of a fun way of adding some interest, and this is like very organic, so I get this is not everybody's thing. I am looking at it, and you know, as I'm going, kind of looking, thinking, okay, am I done with this? Am I not done? What else will it need? I mean, obviously it's still going to need to be waxed. And I am thinking, as I'm kind of looking at it, that I am likely going to want to add a little bit of, can't see the dog lying on the floor here, but she just decided to roll backwards on top of the gold paint. So she's cream colored. Sometimes she's a little decorative. She's walking around the house covered in whatever paint I happen to be using at the time. It's perfectly safe. It's only a problem when it's on her paws and it's still wet and she proceeds to walk through the house, marking out everywhere that she's decided to go. Okay, a little bit more across that top edge, I think. Okay. This is one of those things where it's kind of fun to be rolling it on, but you could easily then sit here and keep doing that too much. So I'm going to let this dry and come back to it again once it's dry, and we'll see if I'm done. I do envision I will probably do a little bit of light sanding on this piece. So one, that will mean if I think that I've got a little bit too much gold in one place, I'm going to be able to sand it back a little bit. I think because of the technique, a little bit of distressing will serve this piece well. So I may do some of that before sealing it with the wax. Once I've got the wax on, I'll see as well if I want to do a little bit of dark wax maybe in some of the corners, right? I don't know. We'll see. So if I'm doing any of that weird stuff, different stuff, I'll come back on and have you with me so that you can see any of that happening. If I just end up sealing it and buffing it up, then you'll at least see it when I stage it and we will be done. But yeah, I'm loving the look of the gold with the roller. I loved the purple wash with it as well. It's a little bit fun. I'm thinking it's a little bit heavy in some spots on the front, so I'll probably You know, it might not look like that much for you from up close. It's a little bit much in some places, so I'll probably do a little light sanding and we'll see how that goes. Kind of a quick video today, but that's really all that we needed to do with it at this point, is get some of that gold on it. So thanks for joining me. I hope that you guys all have a good day. And yeah, and that you're surviving whatever stage of, you know, isolation that you're having to enjoy. I'm having a good time creating, so hopefully you guys go out and create something special. Take care.